speaker, come on. So our next speaker flew all the way from LA, but he did live in the Philippines for about 3 years. Is that right, Sam? 3 years. Took a team of relatively novice marketers at the time to become some of the best here in the Philippines. They grew a company at the time from, am I allowed to say it, the range? 40 million to about $140 million. At the time, we were managing about $800,000 in PPC spent every month, but it always comes back at least 30% profitable. So I think we did a great job, but under Sam's watch, his former team is here, the DRI people. His current team is here. Carol Abedania leads them, 50X Digital. You should say hi to them if you get the chance. Yeah, he's the former director for acquisitions marketing in DRI. Later became the VP. He's now building his own team with 50X Digital along with other e-commerce venture. Ladies and gentlemen, a man whom I thought 15 minutes ago secretly really hated me, Sam Nam.
Thank you. So when Glenn asked me to talk, and he showed me who was going to speak here, and he gave a list of topics that people could talk on. I definitely wasn't going to pick one of the SEO topics with all these heavyweights, so I jumped at the AdWords one, the SEM one that he had slotted there. Originally, I had a different deck that was more of a technical deep dive into AdWords. I did a little bit of surveying of the people that were going to attend today, and got a feel of the different skill levels, and so I switched my presentation today at the last minute to do an SEO guide to learning Google AdWords. Let's see. So, a little nervous after hearing all these people speak who are so great. I need a little energy from you guys, and I'm sure you guys are feeling a little bit tired. So I'm going to start off by sharing with you something that always makes me feel good when I'm at work. So one of my managers, Armin, in the United States, he always likes to respond when somebody brings a good idea to the meeting. He says, so good. He says, so good. And other people on the team will always respond, so nice. Okay? So let's try that. I'll say, so good. So nice. So good. So nice. All right. So we'll try to feed off that energy a little bit. I'm sleep deprived. I flew in and landed last night at midnight with a 2-year-old on a plane trip that felt like 24 hours, but was 14 hours. I'm trying to make do with like 5 cups of coffee, so here we go. So my objective today, help experienced SEOs realize learning AdWords can come very naturally to you. As Glenn shared, I led a large team that did AdWords here in the Philippines. We handled, I think today that team is handling about $20 million of paid search budget a year. And they're doing a fantastic job doing it at a world-class level. And historically, for those of you guys who are visiting the Philippines for the first time, and getting accustomed to our industry here, SEO has been much larger than paid search or SEM as an industry. We had a lot of link builders, we had a lot of content writers, but when it came to paid search, we don't have as many paid search practitioners. That being said, we have a lot of smart people, a lot of talented people, a lot of people who understand search marketing in general. And so today I really want to help encourage everybody to expand their skill set to include paid search and an SEM. So let's review a few AdWords basics that I'm going to be covering today. To start, there's building a solid account structure, then creating killer landing pages, writing ad copy, and selecting AdWords conversion tracking, and creating AdWords bidding strategies. But in case you're not familiar, actually let me take a little quick poll of the room. How many of you guys are doing only SEO or content writing, no AdWords? Oh, not nice. Come on, guys. Everyone here is doing SEO, right? So let's make sure we get some hands up here. How many of you guys are just doing SEO? How many of you guys are doing SEO and SEM? Pretty good number. Pretty good number. Okay. So for those of you guys who are less familiar with it, the listings here. The listings here are usually the paid search ads, and they're managed through Google AdWords, which is the platform that Google uses for advertising their paid searches. So today we're going to talk about how AdWords basics for SEOs. Oh, I don't have highlights here. I used to have highlights in the format. We're gonna go back to this first one where it says AdWords basics. Playing with this. And I'm gonna add a little bit of flavor here for everybody, specifically for SEO. So you can see that I've injected kind of SEO experience that relates to each of these different AdWords practices, right? So first is actually using SEO keyword research to build solid account structures. Second is using SEO optimization strategies to create great landing pages. Third is using Search Console data to write compelling ad copy. And fourth is using analytics and AdWords data to select AdWords conversion tracking models. And then last, using historical SEO conversion rates to set keyword bids. So if you guys are not familiar with AdWords, generally an AdWords account is composed of a campaign with a few ad groups, and each ad group has a set of keywords and ad copies. And this is typically when people introduce you to AdWords, what they will show you. So one thing that I wish people had told me when I first started, I'll share with you guys today. So first, my general rule of thumb is that each ad group should share a single landing page. And I see when I go into different people's account structures, I'll often see that an ad group will have multiple ad copies and different landing pages, and each of those landing pages might be vastly different from each other. And that's really not the best practice, because what you're trying to do is set a set of keywords matched to a specific landing page, and the keyword intent needs to be matched to that landing page. And so if you're putting a bunch of different landing pages that are not related to each other, the keywords won't be matched very appropriately. The second is campaigns. A campaign is a collection of ad groups, and in my experience, ad groups should be placed together when they share a common theme, geographic, time targeting, and audience. So if we were to look at this account structure again, the way that I would recommend it, we want to pair each one of these landing pages to an ad group, and then select keyword and ad copy that best unify the keyword intent and the landing page together. So if you're an SEO, I'm sure you guys have all done some level of keyword research, right? So this is actually some keyword research we did at our company, F50X, for one of our websites. And you can see the URL here says police drones. And one of our SEO specialists did some keyword volume research, and you can see that our primary keyword targets were police drones and law enforcement drones. How many of you guys have done a report like this for keyword research? Yeah? Great. So if you're doing SEO and you want to start doing SEM, the great news is it's really the same thing, right? In SEO, you do a landing page and you look at what keywords you should be optimizing for. You could actually go take those exact same keywords and put them in an AdWords account. And so what we have here is a search campaign. The campaign name is Enterprise Leads. The ad group is for police drones. It's mapped to our police drones landing page. And we have keywords from our keyword research from the SEO side that are now being put into paid search right here. So easy, right? So nice.
So good.
Thank you. I'm so tired right now. Listen. Okay. So far you can see that creating keyword and landing page groupings for ad groups is very similar to SEO, and it shouldn't feel intimidating to you as an SEO to try this out. The second part is using SEO optimization strategies to create good landing pages. In this particular example, what I wanted to show you is that, and this will be a shorter section, but what you do for SEO optimization is actually the exact same thing that AdWords recommends for paid search, right? So this is also an opportunity for SEOs to work together with SEMs. You could even offer AdWords professionals, if you want to start working with them, say, hey, I can do some landing page auditing for you, because you're probably a lot better at it than someone who hasn't done SEO. So let's just run through these are just screenshots from the AdWords support section. But they're going to feel really, really familiar for people who do SEO, right? So relevant, useful, and original content. Like, be specific when the user wants a particular thing. It talks about things like, if someone clicks on an ad for a sports car, don't send them to a specific model or all models page. And that's kind of stuff that we've already learned from on-site SEO optimization, right? Things like promote transparency and foster trustworthiness, having legitimate reviews, having realistic content, having contact pages that are accurate and up to date. These are all things as SEOs, especially as local SEOs, that are not unfamiliar to us. Making mobile and computer navigation easy. And this falls under the category of navigation and user experience. And I'm sure everyone as an SEO has talked with internal developers or designers about improving navigation or putting important keyword links inside the navigation. And all of this stuff is going to carry over for AdWords. We talked a lot today about AMP and decreasing page load times. All that stuff is also exactly the same for AdWords. Okay. So far what we've had is selecting your keywords and your landing pages. That's all relevant to exactly what you do for SEO. The second was optimizing landing pages, and optimizing landing pages for SEM is exactly the same as what you do for SEO. The third is using Search Console data to write compelling ad copy. So if you're coming from an SEO background, and you're trying to build out your first campaign in AdWords, sometimes you can get stuck writing an ad copy because you're not really sure exactly what you should be putting in there. Luckily, a lot of the same things that are working for you in organic search from a CTR basis are going to carry over into paid search. So in this case, I'm giving an example here of thermal drones. In Search Console, I can see that I have high CTRs for things like infrared drone, thermal drone, IR drone. And I know that this landing page is the exact landing page I'm advertising this ad group, and therefore, I'm going to want to make sure that I'm using a lot of the same type of selling propositions and keywords that I'm using in my metadata, right? And everybody's used to optimizing the metadata for CTR and SEO. So this is just a comparison, right? Going from SEO to SEM, I know that thermal drones is the main keyword. I'm going to put that in my title for my ad copy. I'm going to put infrared. I know that number 6 down here, I have FLIR drone, so I'm going to make sure that I mention that I'm a FLIR and DJI authorized retailer. Right? And this ad copy actually did pretty well, not surprisingly, because people are clicking on it on the organic side. Of course, you have to click on it on the paid side. So now we run through 1, 2, and 3, right? We had our keywords, we have our landing page optimization, we have our ad copy optimization, all with the skills that you've already been applying every day as an SEO, right? Number 4 is going to be conversion tracking, and I've actually met people who are doing AdWords and SEM who stuck with the default conversion tracking. I've never really optimized this, and they're actually missing out on a big opportunity. Luckily, as SEOs, we have often less defined metrics compared to traditional AdWords, and so we're used to digging into analytics and trying to find the nuggets of conversion data that we need. So a lot of times people ask, okay, what should I be tracking in AdWords? Because you could have more than one conversion, and some of those conversions can be included, some of those conversions can be excluded. I generally like to say, hey, if you're tracking it as an event, a goal, or if it's part of your e-commerce tracking and analytics, you should select those conversions to be added in AdWords as well too. And AdWords will allow you to have multiple tracking events. Another unique differentiation in AdWords is you can decide if you're going to optimize your campaigns for a 30-day window, a 45-day window, a 60-day window, or a 90-day window. And Analytics has a great little report that AdWords also has, and it's called a time lag report here. And so one of the questions that I always ask myself is, if I was to limit my conversion window to just 30 days, how many conversions would I be missing outside of that window? So if you look at this time lag report, you can see I've enlarged the 12 to 30 day, the 31 to 60 day, and 61 to 90 day. And I'm looking at, after 31 days, I'm looking at about $130,000 of conversion data that I would have missed if I limited myself to a 30-day window, right? So it's really important to use your analytics chops that you know as an SEO to give yourself a competitive advantage, track all the conversions that you deserve, and make sure that attribution models and analytics. So if you haven't, I really encourage you to look at it. It's really important, I think, to learn the multiple paths that users take to convert on your website, especially because of SEOs. So you may not know this, but Google Analytics favors campaign-based source and medium tracking. And what that means is that if somebody comes to your website direct, and somebody comes organic, and somebody comes paid, actually, let's say they came organic, they came paid, and then they came direct. Paid is going to take campaign value tracking for that, because the campaign cookie will override session-based cookie, and organic traffic doesn't have campaign tracking, right? And so the SEM campaigns are taking all the credit for the conversions, and a lot of time SEO is also part of that journey, right? So if you haven't, this is kind of a tangent off the AdWords thing, but make sure you look at the top conversion paths. It's a little blurry, so I apologize. I thought it would show up a little bit better. But what you're seeing here is different clicks, right? So I came in off AdWords, I came off of email, I came off direct, and it's showing how many people converted on each of those paths. Some of the things that I like to look at is in this report, and this report is both in AdWords and analytics. But what I like to look at is, let's say for example, the percentage of conversions that you see that had only one interaction. Right? And in this case, it was 70% or 75% of conversions came from one interaction, which means that 25% of my conversions were coming with more than one interaction, where with last click attribution, one of those sources or campaigns were not getting any credit, weren't getting any value, right? And if you are invested in something like lead generation, or if you're invested in something like driving product awareness, you're going to be towards the first click a lot of times, and you're not going to be able to track a lot of conversion value. And in that sense, you want to make sure that you're looking at the data, and if appropriate, applying a first click, or applying a linear, or first and last type of attribution. So you're giving some attribution value to campaigns or keywords that are contributing towards earlier clicks. So, talk about conversion tracking. Fifth is using historical SEO conversion rates to set keyword bids. So when you first start AdWords, and if you're coming from an SEO background, the most intimidating part, I think, is setting bids and setting budgets, right? Because it's real money, especially it's in dollars, and you're looking at $3 a click, and you're thinking, you're converting in your head 150 pesos per click, and you're sweating before you go and put that number in, right? And then Glenn told you the horror story of bidding up against yourself and losing $100,000, which scared me too. But luckily, if you're an SEO, you do have conversion data. And if you created your campaign structure where each ad group is focused on a specific landing page, you actually have a conversion rate for the keywords that are mapped to that specific landing page, right? So you can go into analytics and you can say, what's the SEO conversion rate for a specific landing page that I'm looking for? And in this case, it was like 2.94, right? And I'm gonna, for the sake of this example, I'm going to kind of round that up to 3%, right? So if you know that your organic conversion rate is 3%, and let's say the client or your internal metrics tell you that each conversion has a maximum allowable cost of conversion for $100, right? You can do some simple math, right? So we have 100 clicks, let's say, at a 3% conversion rate would result in 3 conversions, right? And at a $100 cost per conversion, you have a, $100 cost per conversion, you have a max budget of $100, so 3 conversion is a max budget of $300, okay? So that means, if you kind of translate all that, that means that I have $300 to buy 100 clicks, and at a 3% conversion, that will give me 3 conversions, right? So if you think about it, the math is really easy. I have $300 for 100 clicks. My max CPC bid is $3. And now as an SEO, you can feel really confident going in and saying, hey, I'm not worried, I'm gonna put $3, and that's my max bid. And the bid will probably, average bid will come below that, and you're gonna be well below what your threshold is, going in knowing what your conversion rate is. Now a lot of people who don't practice SEO or are not looking at the SEO data would go in there and feel really nervous about putting a blind bid in, and they'll put the bid in, and next hour they'll check it, and the next hour they'll check it, the next day they'll check it, and they'll just be worrying that they're overspending. But if you're going with SEO experience, you could go in with confidence knowing that you have a general idea of what your conversion rate should be. Just to review, these are a lot of just different SEO strategies and skills that you already have that you can apply going into AdWords, and you can feel confident that compared to somebody who is just going into AdWords, you're going to be at a huge advantage. And I want to encourage all of you guys to invest in learning this other channel and seeing how it complements you. You know, some of the goodies that come with that are things like synergistic CTRs, right? So there's data, there's a report in AdWords that shows what's your click-through rate when you have just a paid search ad. There's a click-through rate when you just have it organic, and what's the click-through rate when both you're showing on AdWords and organic, right? And in almost every single case I've seen the data, you actually get more clicks when you show on both paid and organic at the same time than you would independently of either of those, right? So if you're already ranking for a bunch of organic keywords and you're tracking them, you know, the very first place you might want to go start doing AdWords is on exactly those same keywords, because it's more of a 1 + 1 = 3 scenario. You're going to get a lot more bang for your buck. So SEOs can naturally learn AdWords. So good!
So nice.
Thank you very much.